Hello, I'm Dan Genovese, Director of Consulting at EnerCom, and I'm joined today by Dan Cohen. He's the president and founder of FLITE Material Science, incredible company that's going to be presenting at the Energy Venture Investment Summit. That's in person on campus in Golden, Colorado. That is February 16th and 17th. Dan will be presenting at 3 p.m. February 17th. Dan, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan.
Listen, I'm really excited having read your application and read information about FLITE Material Science. Tell our audience a little bit about your company.
Well, I've been a serial entrepreneur for a little more than 25 years, and I've taken a lot of technologies sort of out of the lab or out of their infancy and into the marketplace. And when we came across this first core technology of FLITE at the University of Rochester 3 years ago, I almost fell off my chair with excitement about what the prospect could be of seeing this in the real world. So when FLITE was created to commercialize and industrialize this laser surface technology that we'll get into, it just excited us so much. We had to create a company, we had to take the license, we had to see who in the world would want this, and we've been very well rewarded since then.
Yeah, Dan, I'm excited as well. When I saw your application came in and did the research, I love the fact that you have application in energy, oil and gas, alternative energy, pipeline, marine, medical. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about the problem that you solve for your customers in terms of surface engineering?
Well, when the technology that we found, we went looking for it when I was working in the solar sector, and we were looking for a way to keep ice and snow and frost off the solar panels for more northern installations. And as we went through the coatings offerings in the marketplace, even the early stage stuff in R&D, we didn't find exactly what we wanted. When we came across this technology of laser surface functionalization, it showed the promise of keeping ice and snow and frost and dew and fouling off of the panels and of the rest of the instruments without any coating, and this was intriguing. So it seems as though we're able to take just about every solid material known to man and make these laser improvements so that we can drive off water or oil without affecting the properties of the basic material. So for all those people in the solar sector who want dust and ice and things off the panels, this is a non-coating alternative, which of course got the interest of people in the aerospace industry who were dealing with icing of their aircraft parts, both on the ground and in the air. And since some of us in the company have some medical background, it seemed obvious that if we could prevent fouling on surfaces, what would that do for surgical instruments that either are used on the body or go in the body? And that also leads us to people in the maritime industry who want fouling of all kinds to be prevented on surfaces that stay under the water. And it never stops. We've had conversations with people in the cosmetics industry, in the food production sector, in the automotive industry. The list is really exhaustive and very encouraging at the same time.
Yeah, and I know that as you guys have been getting out in each one of those markets, you find that your product you make products safer. There's environmental advantages to them as well as cost advantages for the clients. You provide longevity of the product assets, based on the durability of the surfaces, safety, and improve the utility of them. Feel free to explore any one of those advantages or benefits of your surface technology.
Well, the most obvious one for the largest sector of the world that's interested is preventing rust, right? This is a fight that we are losing in the world. The oil and gas sector spends somewhere in the realm of 1.3 trillion every year in rust, just on product, not on services or downtime or other losses, and not on disasters. So anything we can do that improves the material, either in the bulk with one of our laser technologies or on the surface with our laser functionalization, that moves that needle is going to be in itself very much in demand for oil and gas and the water industry, as well as just about any other industry that uses piping. Wow, it's just such a broad area to go with. But for the sake of illustration, let's take something a little closer to everyday use. Your headlamps on your car are made of plastic. and they're coated with something that both protects the plastic, which is relatively inexpensive, and also prevents UV light from going into the plastic and turning it yellow. And that lasts somewhere between 5 and 7 years, depending on where you're driving and what kind of conditions you go through. Now, the coating that's being used is something that is, expensive, difficult to put on. It needs to be dipped several times. It needs to be cured with UV light. And once it starts to erode or scratch, that's the end of it. Once it starts to chip, it's gone, as it is for most paints in the world. So if that industry, which has already called us from a few places, wants to explore replacing that, we can harden the plastic with a laser without using a coating. And we can use our laser method to drive water off the surface intrinsically, so that there is no coating requirement and that there's no environmental waste associated with those coatings. And yet it's going to do the same job or better and last longer. And it's going to make it safer because the self-driving cars also have LiDAR detectors behind them, and they can't stand to have water splashed on them for any length of time. So we are improving the functionality, saving the environment, and giving them something they can afford to put on all in one stroke. And it's a great example.
Yeah, if you were to give folks who are viewing this and who will be attending the Energy Venture Investment Summit to hear you speak, what's the big takeaway from this interview that you want to leave them with as they prepare to hear your presentation on the 17th in February?
Well, I guess we want people to be using their imaginations to some degree. The oil and gas industry deals with easily the harshest technical and environmental challenges I've seen in any sector. Worse than the stuff they deal with at NASA, and we've been there several times as well. So when we say that we can change the way the surfaces of trusted materials behave, we want you to start imagining what we can possibly do so we can explore it together, because the exploration is quick and easy. So we've had people talking to us about preventing rust on the surface, but also about improving the hardness of badly rated pipe. We've had people talk about doing this on the interior diameter of pipes so we can prevent clogging and fouling by the buildup of naphthenes and asphaltenes. We've talked about people using it down a hole, offshore, as well as with their non-oil and gas portfolios in energy, like solar, like wind turbines that also have some of these problems. So the more you can get fired up about a possibility, the better we can answer you about what those prospects really are for this technology.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody, if you haven't registered yet to attend, this is an in-person conference on campus at the Colorado School of Mines, February 16th and 17th. I really want to encourage you to come and hear Dan present along with the rest of the presenters, flight material science, incredible story, great opportunity for investors, great opportunity for the energy companies that are already registered to attend, to have a conversation with Dan and find out more about that application in your out in your field, on your solar array or your wind turbine. Dan, thank you for joining us today. Really hope that everybody can join us and hear your presentation next month.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for including us. It's an honor, and it's going to be a privilege to visit the Colorado School of Mines too. That place has an incredible reputation, and I can't wait to see it.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great night.